Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend where we finally have some of the numbers, and guess what? After now 15 weeks, going into its 15th week of release, Top Gun Maverick is going to be back at the #1 spot in a very, very slow Labor Day weekend, which is just, again, insane to me that no major studio had any plans or had decided to try to move up any movies to have plans to actually have a major release this weekend. And hey, the box office will go ahead and show for that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy that Top Gun Maverick is back at the #1 spot, because if you haven't seen it yet, you should do yourself a favor and go see it. This film is still at over 3,000 screens. It's expected to be up 7% from last week, which again, from week 14 to week 15, seeing a 7% increase, still making over $5 million projected, expected to have $700 million domestic by the end of the actual full weekend. Man, very, very impressive stuff. We also have, though, the reissue, as it's being called, the more fun stuff version of Spider-Man No Way Home, not making nearly as much money as I thought it was going to make. And then also some other updated numbers here, including the second weekend numbers for The Invitation. But before going any further, though, please make sure you smash that like button, have that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with the bell notification on. That way you know every time a video or live stream goes live on the channel. So, big news, of course, is that Top Gun Maverick, even after 15 weeks, is going to reign on top with a whopping $5 million, which is not really all that much, especially during a holiday weekend, nonetheless. But when you have literally no new releases except for the re-release of Spider-Man No Way Home, the re-release of Jaws in 3D IMAX, you start to see, yeah, maybe things aren't nearly as good at the box office as we once thought that they were. Then again, also, it's because no major studio seems to have any confidence in their stuff anymore, and seeing what has been coming out of mainstream Hollywood these days, it's really not all that surprising that they would feel that way either. But Top Gun Maverick, $5 million, even after 15 weeks, is quite impressive. As you can see, it's expected to make $6.6 million after the full Labor Day weekend, bringing it to a $700 million domestic, which is just incredible. The fact that this film will be $700 million domestically, $700+ million internationally as well, is just more than I would think anyone was going to expect from this movie. And really, it makes this film the film to beat box office wise for the year. You do have films like Black Adam coming out in October. You also have Avatar: The Way of Water, finally Avatar 2, which I could care less for. But that is a film that's expected to make a lot of money. But really, the film to beat is going to be Top Gun Maverick, which is going to be looking at around $1.4 to $1.5 billion when everything is said and done. It's already reached the $1.4 billion mark. Could it reach 1.5? We'll have to wait and see. Regardless of that, even after being on digital, it is continuing to make money, continuing to be at over 3,000 screens, which is again, very unheard of for a film 15 weeks out. Again, kudos to Tom Cruise and to Paramount for knowing how to market their film, and also to make an actual good film to boot, because you don't have to just have good marketing, you also have to have good word of mouth, natural good word of mouth. And for that, need to have a pretty good film. So Top Gun Maverick taking the #1 spot. #2 spot's going to be a reissue, Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun stuff version, and that's actually a bit of a surprise to me. It'll be interesting to see what the actual numbers end up being. If Spider-Man does a little bit better than expected, maybe if Jaws does a little bit better than expected. But Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun stuff version, expected to make $4.6 million and expected to have 5.8 by the end of the weekend. It's getting a pretty massive re-release, coming out at over 3,800 screens, so clearly, Sony wants to have this film in as many theaters as possible. It has a lot of confidence in the movie, but I will say, $4.6 million for a reissue doesn't seem all that impressive. I mean, I guess we could compare this to where it was at the end of its run when everyone had already seen the movie, but you would think that more people, especially with the positive praise for this film, would be like, yeah, I want to go see this film again in theaters. I want to go see this film with the more fun stuff version, with more scenes and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, interestingly enough, the numbers don't seem to be all that high for it. These are estimates, so they could be wrong, but it is interesting nonetheless to look at this film, and still coming in the top 3 after this film already had its release, has already been out on home video where people have access to it on Blu-ray 4K. And that's the only reason I could think of, is that people might think, yeah, well, if they're going to have scenes in there that aren't already on the Blu-ray or aren't already on the 4K as special features, what else could they possibly pull out at this point in time? You then also have the number 3 spot coming out this weekend, or expected to be in the number 3 spot this weekend. Bullet Train making another $4.3 million, still at over 3,000 screens, a 23% hold. As you can see, these are very strong holds for this movie, and as I said, this is exactly what this film is going to need to be able to do if it has any hope or prayer to break even. Right now, it's trudging along. It's not doing nearly as well as Elvis was doing around the same time of its release, but it's doing well enough to where it is very, very much still plausible for the film to reach that number. Again, if it has these types of holds, and with no major releases coming out, as I mentioned, until really mid-October, it has a decent chance of being able to do just that. The Invitation, in its second week of release, is going to drop to the number 4 spot. Yes, the number 4 spot, but only a 44% drop, expected to make $3.8 million, and expected by the end of the entire weekend to have $13.9 million domestically. Bullet Train's $85.9 million domestically as well. So as you can see, Invitation not really getting all that high praise, but still having a pretty strong hold during a weekend when nothing new is coming out. Beast is still hanging around as well with 28% drop. Does need to make a little bit more than what it's been making so far to have its money made back, even though it didn't cost all that much. It hasn't made all that much. So $3.5 million is projected for that film, which would be coming in at the number 5 spot. So that'd be the top 5 films of the week. You also have DC League of Super Pets, which is expected to hang around, only a 15% drop there. Minions Rise of Gru is expected to increase by 7%. Dragon Ball Super going to drop another 50%, starting to lose some theaters here, but the film is just making nothing but profit at this point, so kudos to them. Jaws is getting a much smaller release compared to Spider-Man No Way Home, which is probably why the film's only expected to make around $2.1 million. But what I do find quite entertaining is the fact that this film is projected to make more than Thor: Love and Thunder. And yes, Thor: Love and Thunder has obviously been out for a while at this point, but has not been out nearly as long as Top Gun Maverick, and Jaws came out almost 50 years ago. So, you tell me what that says about modern day Hollywood. So again, Jaws, the re-release, $2.1 million. It sucks that it has to be a 3D release, but it is what it is. $2.1 million there. Thor: Love and Thunder, $2 million. Where the Crawdads Sing could also potentially even beat Thor: Love and Thunder's numbers here, which again just goes to show you how much this film has lost and how much the MCU has lost over time. And again, you could talk about, well, it's one of the highest grossing films of the year so far, and oh, well, it made its money back. Yes, these are all things that are true. However, in comparison to the other MCU films and the entire history of the MCU, you can hopefully see, if you're going to be honest, saying, yeah, you know what? There seems to be a drop-off here. There seems to be an audience that once was there that is no longer there. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see exactly where this ends up when everything is all said and done. But those are the numbers as they currently stand. So what do y'all think is going to happen? Do you think Top Gun Maverick is going to take that top spot? Do you think Spider-Man No Way Home could have a over-projection, or could end up doing better than the projections and end up coming in the number 1 spot, once again, reigning at the top? Either way, I think it's, again, good. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was a lot of fun, especially bringing in the old cast, bringing in all the Spider-Man. I thought that was one of the best parts of the film. Again, absolutely nostalgia done right, which is the strongest point of this movie. Top Gun Maverick is just a great movie to boot, not only with the nostalgia, but also just because it's a very well-paced, well-done film to boot. And Bullet Train as well. I think that these top 3 films are actually 3 of the best films of the last 12 months, really. I think that they've been the most fun at the theater that I've had in quite a long time. So I'm happy to see them all at these spots. But what are y'all's thoughts about this? Are you planning to see any of these films this weekend? The Spider-Man No Way Home, More Fun Stuff version, Jaws re-release, or any of the other films in between? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button. Not that fire button on Odyssey. I will be having the September shoutouts video recorded in the next day or so. So if you are at the Keeper of the Bifrost level or above and you want a special shout out, please make sure to contact me. That way I get your channel names correct, things like that. So if you already like what you're hearing at the end of the video, you don't have to say anything. If you want a little bit more, just let me know. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Keeper of the Bifrost and Chosen of Valhalla members over on Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals. Starting off with my Patreon supporters, we got Chris from the 80s, who you can check out on YouTube, Garrett Searles, Hymir Irie Hymason, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Laura, The Modern Major General Story, Father Luca Illick, Orange Hat Reviews, who you can also check out on YouTube, Rosetta Allen, whose YouTube channel's name is Eagle Rider, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, who also has a YouTube channel, and the Empress of the Universe, Tina B, who you can check out on her show that she does with the amazing Stephanie B, my Valkyrie, on a show called Soup to Nuts on Tina B's channel. Also to my Subscribestar peeps, we got Matt317, who you can support over on Twitch, same name, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod, The Beer Guru, and ZK Man, who you can support over at xtheboundaries.co. And lastly, to my Locals members, we got Miss Minnesota Hockey Fan, How About a Hockey Player? We have UAB Mad Dog Mike Jackson for the win, Brett D90, and Robert Barnes, who most people should know about at this point, so go support him over at InfoWars, YouTube, and all the other locations that he is at. But if you want your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, check out that top link in the video description. Finds out all the places that you can follow me on social media, and also all the various platforms that you can support the channel, which include not only shoutouts, but also access to giveaways of 4K titles, Blu-rays, tons of other stuff like that, digital codes, and then also a way to get access to being featured on the channel once a month for the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we talk about movies, pop culture, and pretty much anything the Chosen want to talk about. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the video description. There's also access to a podcast that I do with John the Flick Pig Flickinger once or twice a month. And don't worry if you were wondering where the July episode is, because of scheduling conflicts, especially with John, we were not able to get that done, but we will have 2 episodes this month to make up for it, so don't you worry about that. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.